I want to handle one more issue of parks, which we talked about last week. We've had some discussion. It'll take a few seconds to cover, but that's the issue that's really peaked up in the last 10 days or so, and that is disc golf. Disc golf, for those of you who may not be familiar with it, it is playing it's a recreation and a competition that imitates what happens when you play golf. In golf, you hit a ball, 18 holes, you put in a hole, number of strokes, lowest number of strokes, you win the competition. In disc golf, you take a disc, a frisbee, and you throw it from a tee box, and the number of throws that it takes for you to put it in a basket at the end of the hole mirrors the number of strokes it takes for you to finish a hole of golf. And after 18 holes of competition, you have played a round of disc golf. Disc golf was added to the budget by the Board of Legislators, $40,000 allocation in the budget for 2020, which was approved in 2019. This was a matter of public record at the time. Most people don't follow these budgets very closely. There was no particular debate over it. There was no particular controversy over it. Nobody said, oh, wait a minute, this is disc golf. We don't want to know about this. So as with 1,000 issues that we have, it passed in the budget, and then we moved forward to implement it. I asked the County Parks Department to analyze the sport and come back with a game plan about where we would implement it in our park system. We have 55 parks around the county. Some are dedicated passive parks. Our 6 nature preserves, we have waterfront and swamp area type parks. We have some other ones that are committed to active recreation, and it just depends. I've mentioned already, we've got 4, ultimately 5 pools in our system, and we have beaches. We have mountain biking at some parks. We have, obviously, golf, 6 golf courses, regular golf courses, and there's a host of different activities that we have along those lines. We have picnicking and plenty of things. Certain things are targeted for passive, walking, trails, and so forth. Some of them are active, and some of them are amalgam of the two. So the Parks Department looked at this area of Saxon Woods, the southern area of Saxon Woods, as a possible place for disc golf. They contracted, they had 2 proposals. They picked one proposer for a designer who went out to try to lay out what a course would look like. While they were laying it out and doing a report, which had not yet been received by the Parks Department nor by senior management, individuals saw that there was some sort of a marking out there and assumed that something was afoot. And then there was a podcast done by some of the folks who support the concept of disc golf. And the podcast itself, frankly, was inaccurate, said a lot of things that would make the listener believe that there was some behind-the-scenes deal and there was some inappropriate actions that led to this disc golf, when in fact, the initial discussion and budgeting for this was all done out in the open. However, issues advance getting concrete information. So while the plan was being put together for review by Parks Management or by senior management, there was an anonymous flyer put out saying, you'd better stop this, rise up, they're going to sneak this past you. And of course, it riled a lot of people. And a week ago, I addressed some of the inaccuracies of both the podcast, which were proponents of disc golf, and the opponents, which were in the anonymous flyer. They talked about clear-cutting trees. That was never part of the discussion, is not part of the discussion. They talked about a host of other different things that were asserted as truth, which were not truth. I addressed those a week ago, but what I did say is we would look at the designer's proposal, and then we would make a decision on it. So I saw the designer's proposal last Friday, and I thought it was obtrusive for the area set aside. And after talking to senior management, Ken, Joan McDonald, some others, and the leadership of the Parks Department, I have told them to cease efforts to try to place this in Saxon Woods, that the area set aside for this, in my judgment, would not properly accommodate the 18 holes that disc golf wants, and that we should resurvey the various other sites that we have in the county as a possible home for disc golf, but not Saxon Woods. So that decision just made on Friday over the weekend, I announced to you now. All of those who are concerned that it would be in Saxon Woods can relax. It will not be in Saxon Woods. For those of you who want disc golf, understand that I believe it is a valid recreation and that it can be part of our county mix. So what we're going to do is survey other locations to determine where disc golf would work perhaps better. And rather than talk about something that's still in an analysis process, when and if we have a proposed location for it and how it would be laid out, we will then publicly announce it, just in the same way that I'm doing this now. So there's none of this behind-the-scenes stuff and fear. I have spoken to Henry Neal, who is the chair of the Parks Board, and I've indicated to him that I would like for his Parks Board to have a general discussion about disc golf as an appropriate or not an appropriate recreation, so that we understand that this is merely a question of finding the right place for the right kind of activity. We have mountain biking in 3 of our parks. A person who is accustomed to walking on a path without a mountain bike would find a mountain biker objectionable to share the same area. But in 3 of our parks, we have designated them for that purpose, and we have different purposes structured in different parks. So we will see how that all plays out. For those who are disc golf enthusiasts, your case is not lost. There will be a discussion about what might be a proper place. We're also going to talk with the state about it. The state has a disc golf facility at the FDR Park in Yorktown, and there's some discussions about the state looking at state park land for this purpose. Either way, if it expands the sport of disc golf or the recreation of disc golf, would be appropriate. Some people who wrote to me were very upset over us even discussing the idea of this kind of an active recreation. And I've said to them, whether we put it in Saxon Woods or not, which we are not going to do, parks have different reasons and uses for different people. And I have to push back at people who want to see nothing but passive use of our parks. Our woodlands are important to protect, and we protect in the marshlands, at the Reed Sanctuary, at Trailside, at Nature Woods, Cranberry Lake, at Lenoir Preserve, where I was today. We reserve areas for no active recreation at all. But for some people, active recreation is part of what they want. And that's why we do have 6 golf courses, and that's why we do have baseball fields at Macy Field in Greenberg. We have other uses at other parks. So this is why the Parks Board's challenge, as citizens that are appointed to the Parks Board, to look at the overall structure of our parks and the overall recreational needs of our people, and to try to create some balance so that we have all of these things in some reasonable proportion. So that is the update that I promised you a week ago. We have not done anything outside of the norm of normal decision making. I took some umbrage at some of the accusations that were made by people. We now have a new world of social media where anybody can get onto Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, say whatever they like. It doesn't have to be proven as normal press has to be proven. A person can express an opinion, hearsay, whatever they think it is, and they can be absolutely sure. And when it circulates around, you wind up chasing a rumor. You wind up chasing this person to that person, what was said, and people repeat that rumor whether they know it's true or not. And I'm sure that this dialogue today will not automatically be heard by every person that has that. So I would suggest share with your friends if you hear this, with other people that you know are interested about the issue and what the county has done. The county has decided not to pursue disc golf at Saxon Woods. We are looking around the park system to determine where it might be placed elsewhere. And if, in fact, we do settle on another place and a design, there will be a public dialogue about it so that no one can feel that anything has been done untoward. Hopefully that puts to rest some people's concerns. And for those who want to see disc golf, this is not the ending of your opportunity. This is a restructuring of it as we look to see what might be a more appropriate area. You do need a lot of land to do this sport, to do it properly. And we want to be sure that we have sufficient land to do that in a way that doesn't interrupt with other existing uses at the facility. And we have a lot of land, we have a lot of acreage. We'll see just how we can do that.